We like to call it the Supernatural Hour. And now, our hosts.
Hey, welcome to the Supernatural Hour podcast. I am your host, Raven.
This is Chad.
And this is Emmett.
We ready for the junk drawer?
I think we're ready for a junk drawer.
Okay, so this is called a Colorado ghost story. There's a fellow named Jay Dawson. He had two goals in life. One was to find a rich vein of gold, and second was to find a bride. Okay, so it sounds pretty legit for mid-1800s, right? He hadn't had any luck with either gold or the ladies. He was from back east. He had, really smooth manners. Some people said that he seemed a little sissy and irritating compared to the more rough, rowdy miner residents that, maybe were from out west. Simply because, more refined.
He was more refined.
The east was, had been around a long time.
School.
Exactly. So he courted a school teacher, local farmers' daughters, took to, dating some of the entertainers at the saloon, if you know where that's going. No avail. No, didn't have any luck with any of the ladies. Well, one day his lifeless body was found at the bottom of the cliff. He'd been out, fallen off the cliff while he was prospecting for gold. No one thought it was, anything nefarious. He died. So they buried him in Buckskin Cemetery. They had a little service, not too long. Everyone kind of forgot about him. But 2 days, and by forgot about him, not forgot, but you have the funeral, and what is there to do? You live life, right? But 2 days later, the sheriff walks into the saloon and sees the remains of Jane Dawson. The remains are lying on the bed of one of the ladies of the evening. Okay? And this woman was someone that he had courted, back in the day. She'd been sleeping off, a hard work evening. And she woke up, and there he was. And obviously she's hysterical, so she calls the sheriff. Sheriff comes in, calms her down. They take Jay Dawson back to the cemetery. They bury him. The sheriff's, did you guys dig him up? What? And they're like, no, we don't know. And shopkeepers, everyone said, we didn't dig him up. That's gross. It kind of became a joke. They're all speculating who dug him up. Well, 3 days later, he was found at the schoolhouse. He was propped up against the doorpost. There was a love note addressed to the teacher in his hand because he had courted her. And he's been dead a week. At this point, he's not looking too great. So the sheriff removed the corpse a second time, had the body buried really deep. It's like, we're not doing 6 feet. We're just going to go down as deep as we possibly can. They piled heavy, heavy stones on the grave. And he actually stayed there for several weeks. But then several weeks later, he was found on the porch of the local advocate's house with flowers in his hand and a note addressed to the oldest daughter. Then he was found sitting on his favorite bar stool with a box of sweets addressed to one of the pretty lady entertainers. Anyway, they found him several times, several different places with different people that he had courted. Finally, they buried him, and the sheriff hired some local kids, teenagers, to watch the grave. One night, one of the boys woke the sheriff up and said he came out of the grave. I swear it was Jay Dawson. He came out of the grave and started picking wildflowers. And this kid was hysterical. I mean, I'd be hysterical if I saw some dead guy
Come out of
the grave. He wouldn't calm down till the sheriff went to the graveyard. And, the sheriff's like, wow, his grave is disturbed. So the next morning they found the rotting corpse at the home of his own girlfriend, the sheriff's girlfriend, and that was the last straw. The sheriff said, I have had enough of this. If he's going to behave like this, he belongs in the cesspool. That's where he belongs. So the sheriff took this disgusting, decomposed body of Jay Dawson, dragged it down the road to an old outhouse that was near kind of an old shanty town, and ripped off the wooden seat, threw Jay Dawson down into the muck, tore down the outhouse, and buried Mr. Dawson inside. And that was the last that they heard of him.
Ba-dum-bum.
So there is your
Paranormal junk drawer.
Paranormal junk drawer.
That's creepier than clowns right there.
Yes, it is. Alrighty, Emmett, do you have a segment for us tonight?
Well, I just wanted to mention on our little training investigation last night, we've got an Ovilus, and we usually use that setup so it's speaking words in dictionary mode. But last night we tried it in yes/no mode, where the spirits can move a cursor either up to a green dot or down to a red dot for yes or no. And I've never tried it in that configuration before. And last night we actually were getting some straightforward answers, yes/no answers to questions with it.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, if anybody has an Ovilus Mark V, I would encourage you to put it in draw mode and use it. Try to ask spirits yes/no questions.
Kind of like we do with the Ghost Meter Pro.
Yeah, or with a cat ball or something. It worked very well for that.
Oh, nice. Yeah, and I didn't even realize that Ovilus has had that mode on them.
Oh, they've got half a dozen settings you can switch to. It's pretty versatile.
Oh, nice.
That's it. Just saying, get to know your gear.
Yeah, hey, get your Supernatural Hour swag. Supernaturalhour.com. You go out there. We've got the ability to get T-shirts and banners and tapestries, hats, all that kind of stuff. We also have merchandise out there with our shop, so get that. Also,
Christmas is coming.
Yep.
This is a good place to get all of your paranormal Christmas goodies.
Yeah, if you've got friends and family that like the paranormal, come out and check out our shop. Dowsing rods and other things are available. Also, we ask you to come out and to our YouTube channel and take a look at our YouTube channel and subscribe. We're trying to increase our viewership there and our subscriptions out there. These podcasts we break up and post out on YouTube, so they're a lot of fun to watch there. We add pictures with the YouTube. About 315 subscribers now. We're looking to increase that to get a little better viewership out.
Wow, growth has been steady lately. That's cool.
Yeah,
It
it's
has.
been awesome. Okay, before we go on, and I know it's over, and by the time you hear this, it'll be like almost a week after Thanksgiving, but hey, we're going to talk about it anyway. Everyone's favorite Thanksgiving food, really quick.
I like the turkey and stuffing.
I don't have a favorite.
For me, it's the
Honestly.
stuffing. And I'm sorry, if you use stovetop out there, awesome, that's your thing, but I prefer more of a homemade, less processed stuffing.
It's not that hard to make from scratch anyway,
I
you know?
I know.
And your cranberries this year were really, really good.
Yeah, I made a homemade cranberry sauce this year, and
Ooh, yummy.
it's ridiculously easy and very delicious. It has a lot of carbs, and I ate a lot of it, and I think that's one of the things that made me sick.
And it didn't look like a can when you poured it out.
No. The canned stuff isn't bad. It just, the fact that it's shaped like a can is just a little off-putting.
They actually call that jellied cranberry sauce a log.
Yeah, it's visually disturbing.
Yeah.
It's pretty good too. I like it too. But your cranberry sauce was really good this year.
Okay. Residentials. We've actually had two, and I have not been able to go to either of them for various reasons. So the one is Denise and her sister-in-law. I will find out about that and report on it next podcast. But Emmett, do you want to tell us about last night?
Oh, yeah, we just, this was just actually a training session, really, for two new people who are really enthusiastic. And we did a venue that we've done before. It's a building that's owned by my employer, and we have a really nice arrangement with my employer. Every time we investigate one of these buildings, we donate $25 to JDRF, which is the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. So
That's
it's a
a-
worthwhile cause.
Yeah, that's a great cause.
So we just did a warehouse last night. I just wanted to bring these two new people in, and it was just the three of us, and it was pretty active. You know, usually sometimes you'll get more activity with a smaller group. There's certainly less talking and noise contamination, and they had a good time. We got a lot of SLS evidence.
Now, you told me one thing in particular that was really, really cool. Something that you had seen.
Yeah, we're walking back. We'd gone to the far end of the building and walking back, and I saw with my own eyes, it didn't show up on the cameras or the SLS, But you know, we've all seen naked eye orbs from time to time, just without the camera. And this was like that, except it wasn't round, it wasn't an orb, it was a very wispy anomaly. And I have not seen one like that before. And it just went shooting right across in front of me from right to left. And unfortunately, neither of the two people who were with me saw it. Their eyes were glued to their night vision screens. But that was totally cool for me. It actually looked like a wispy ghost. The first time I've seen one that wasn't just a round little blob, but something that looked wispy.
You know, the interesting thing is, it's one of the things I tell people on public investigations is don't get so caught up in looking at your instruments that you forget to look around, because you'll miss stuff.
Good advice.
And I've done that myself, you know. But to me, the times where I have seen full body apparitions, and in the 12-ish years that we've done this as an organized group, I have probably only seen 5 full body apparitions. And they always come when you least expect it. They never happen when you go, you know, if you go somewhere and say to yourself, I'm going to look for a full body apparition. They always just kind of just poof, or, you know, when you least expect it. But what you just told me reminded me of one, and I put it into my full body apparition genre, but I don't, it sounds more like what you're talking about. We were at the Benson Gristmill, and this was several years ago, and we were done. We had put away all of our equipment. I had gone up to tell the lady that we were done and, you know, that we were leaving, stopped into the bathroom, was walking down toward, you know, the picnic table area. And right just past the picnic table area, you know, there's the little kind of a semicircle of log cabins. And then there's that field, right, kind of there by the barn. And I saw what I believe is the woman in white. And it didn't look like a fully formed woman. You know, it wasn't like, oh, there's a head and arms and legs and she's trotting across the field. But it just was woman-ish. I mean, there, you know, it's kind of a triangle.
Maybe a feminine vibe.
Yeah, kind of a like that could be a skirt, kind of a triangle thing, and then the top's a little skinnier, like it could be a body. And she moved probably 10 feet, kind of from south to north, and then gone.
And that was between the tables and the barn in that field?
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. And it just,
Wow.
you know, just probably a 2-second thing, just long enough for me to register it. But, you know, like what you said, it was wispy. I mean, clear enough to be seen, but just more wispy than a full-formed, you know, body.
And I wasn't expecting it at all either. It just, you know, you look up and there it is.
Yep. And you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
And it happens so fast, you usually can't whip out your camera, you know. By the time it registers of, I think that's something paranormal, it's gone.
That reminds me of the time I was home and I was taking the dog out to do her business, and we were going out the back door of the garage, and I opened that up, and just as I did, there's an orb right there in front of the door outside. And as soon as I open the door, the orb like takes off across the patio, and I'm looking at it, and I can see the dog is looking at it too, and the dog starts chasing it across the patio. So that's the first time it caught me off guard. I didn't have a camera or anything, but the fact that the dog saw it and took off after it proved to me that it was real.
Yeah, it's kind of validating, because you're saying to yourself, I'm not the only one that saw that.
And oh my gosh, dogs can see the spirits too. That, you know, that's proof of that, because we know they see things that we don't see sometimes.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that's one of the
this
things.
time we both saw it.
Yeah. Well, I have investigated the warehouse that you went to, and it has got some really great activity. I can't wait to get back there again, so I hope we can get in there again sooner than later.
We can, whenever you're ready.
Awesome. Well, as soon as I find out about the other residential, I will, hopefully it'll be by our next podcast.
Okay.
So, okay.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, that segment, our residential segment, was brought to you by Castle Photo Art. Go to Castle for all of your photo needs. In our last podcast, we had Castle on as one of our guests and one of the hosts, and he kind of explained what he's doing with his Castle Photo Art and Castle Nature Studio. And we invite you to go out and check his business out.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see our recreation photos that we did. I was just thinking about that today. I need to pester him and say, hey, how'd those turn out? They're going to be fantastic.
Those should be fun. Because of Thanksgiving, we have a couple of people that aren't here, so too bad for them.
Yep.
We miss them. Doc and Jess aren't here, and Rogue.
Yep. Hopefully they will be able to make it next time, but stuff happens, and we just keep plugging along.
We'll soldier on without them. So for the business, again, we're looking at kind of a quiet time of the year from a paranormal activity, advanced paranormal standpoint. We're kind of on a bit of a hiatus. We do want to recommend to everybody to donate to your local food bank. Here, the Utah Food Bank is a great cause, a great charity to help. They can always use our help in helping people to be able to eat during this time of year.
Yeah, and this is just on your own. Don't bring it to us. I don't want to. I mean, it's food. I'll take it, but
Well, wait, depends on what it is. What do you got?
right. If it's canned cranberry sauce, don't bring it to me. No, in all seriousness, we have a lot of listeners that are not in Utah, and just feel the spirit of generosity, and whatever food bank or whatever local charity near you, strikes your fancy or is closest, whatever. Please, think of those that don't have much at this time of year, and just lend a helping hand to them.
And that's it for the business. Yeah, hey, get your Supernatural Hour swag, supernaturalhour.com. You go out there, we've got the ability to get t-shirts and banners and tapestries, hats, all that kind of stuff. We also have merchandise out there with our shop, so get that also.
Christmas is coming.
Yep.
This is a good place to get all of your paranormal Christmas goodies.
Yeah, if you've got friends and family that like the paranormal, come out and check out our shop. Dowsing rods and other things are available. Also, we ask you to come out and to our YouTube channel and take a look at our YouTube channel and subscribe. We're trying to increase our viewership there and our subscriptions out there. These podcasts we break up and post out on YouTube, so they're a lot of fun to watch there. We add pictures with the YouTube. About 315 subscribers now. We're looking to increase that to get a little better viewership out to.
Wow, growth has been steady lately. That's cool.
Yeah,
It
it's
has.
been awesome. Well, that's it for us tonight. Stay spooky, my haunty friends.
Hey, have a great night.
We'll see you next time.
You've been listening to the Supernatural Hour at AdvancedParanormal.com. The Supernatural Hour is part of the Radio Ronin network found at RadioRonin.com. Copyright by Advanced Paranormal Services.